So, welcome everybody to my second video on Project Living World. My apologies up front. This is gonna be a little more dry, I fear, as the first one, but it perhaps is helpful nonetheless in case you want to implement the routines from Project Living World into your own modules, or at least something similar, or in case of Jer, perhaps uh, as an inspiration how or how not to actually implement it in IB's default solutions. So before I go into the details of things here, little overview what's to come in the next minutes. First, I'm gonna give you a short slide here. I want to go through with you, just one page. You can see it already on screen, where I just explain the key concepts behind the whole thing. Then we'll go into the Project Living World module you have seen last time, and we'll have a look behind the scenes of what has been driving the scenes you have seen there. And then finally I'll show you yes, a vanilla clean slate starting module, just with the Project Living World scripts added on top of it. So you could do a fresh start with this, or copy the stuff you need just out of it. I've done templates there for the waypoints, and also some actors as examples for different types of actors you might want to use. So it should allow you a quick setup. Okay, and then after this video I'm gonna do a third video on the scripts themselves, and that will be even drier. You have been warned. Okay, so on top of the screen you can see the 6 scripts I've been using to implement the system. It starts top left corner with world time. Perhaps I can make this a little bit more comfortable to you when scrolling. Making it a little bit bigger. Yeah. So it's world time. It's an autoload script. It's a script that's coming with IB already. I've just modified some parts of it, and its main purpose is to change the map file and change the clock file, also both graphics, due to the passing of time and updates. And so when it becomes dusk, then the dusk clock and the dusk map are shown, and so forth. The world time UI text is also a default IB script. It's also an autoload, as was world time beforehand, meaning we don't need any script hook where we have to attach it in the toolset. It's just loaded automatically. Some kind of, yeah, you could say outsourced engine code. It's very cool, this concept. Here I've placed the calculation of the time intervals. You have to know that the time is measured in ticks or in seconds here, and so for example, the day has some 68,400 seconds or something like that, and I'm breaking all the second counting down into actually hours and days and minutes and months, and assign names to those so we can handle as human beings this stuff a little bit more intuitively. Yeah, also there's some hotfix placed for saving time, which is right now not done, but probably be soon fixed. Then the third one is the on module load, again an auto load. This is just once called in the beginning when you do a new start or every time you load, and it's therefore a great place to initialize stuff. And so various globals I'm using there are initialized there again, like last area. I explained it in this third scripting video what that's for. Okay, it's local variable, no, global variable that keeps track of the last area you were in, and the change of the map you see when time passes is the actual loading of a new area. And normally on loading of a new area, all actors I have on one area are compared with certain time routines and are replaced partially in approximations of where they were before, so you might not find them in the exact square before the loading of the new map with the new time, but 3 squares to the left on the next waypoint or something like that. And that's not good for this invisible change I intended there. And therefore last area stores the area you were last time in, compares it, and this way he can see that you just teleported from one area to the very same area, just because you wanted just a lightning change, but not the actors to change their positions, and therefore he'll skip that actor position changing. Nah, was it dry enough? Oh dear. Okay, then there's a defeated creatures list here. Here I store creatures that have been defeated, and later on deleted. It's a little bit more complicated in the normal game, cause we can have actors that exist on several maps in parallel, and if you defeat them on one map, they die on the other maps too. So I keep track of it and go through all areas and kill them everywhere and remove them, and therefore I have such lists here. So it's the second time hotfix here. Yeah, and some initialization of variables needed for the floaty system to work. Let's leave it this way. Then there is the on end combat round. Should be on end combat actually, because it's not called on every combat round, but on the end of a combat, on your victory, more precisely, script. It has to be hooked to each encounter's end combat script hook. Yeah, and what it does is it enters the defeated creatures, or better, the defeated creature, into the defeated creatures list. So it notices, okay, you won that encounter, and stores a creature carrying that encounter into that list, so it can later on delete it. The deletion, or the deleting itself, is actually done then by one of the two main scripts of the whole system. The GA synchronize actor position with world time CS. It's here, the left big box. It's hooked to the modules on heartbeat hook, found under module properties in the toolset. Yeah, besides deleting or removing defeated creatures, its main function is to synchronize world time moving actor position when the player enters the map for one. So when you come onto a new map, then the game reads all the waypoint properties on that map and turns show or hide properties of all creatures placed on the map to false or true, and so blends in the ones you shall see and blends out the ones you shall not see. And that happens every time you enter a new area. So it's close a little circle to my rather complicated explanation why we need this last area variable above there. So every time the area you enter is different from the one that's stored in last area, yes, magically creatures disappear and appear. You won't notice that it's a blink of a second, so you don't see that as player. Yeah, but it's always there in the background. Also, while you're on a map, actually, moving actors will leave that map or appear on that map. I think the skeleton trader that appeared on the last map we saw, or Jacob the farmer leaving the map. So this happens. This is also controlled by the script here. Actually, these creatures don't leave the map and they don't appear, but it's just a show property of them turned to false or to true. So they are there all the time, just hidden from you, and then they appear or hide them. And there's also a little secret for creatures existing on several maps. Actually, on these several maps, there's on each map a single new instance of this creature placed. And when you enter the map in the time where it's supposed to be shown, then it appears. When you enter the map in a time slot where it's supposed to be not to be shown, then you don't see it. Quite simple and yeah, quite effective actually. Okay, then the last one is a creature move actor on world map script. It's placed on each creature's on heartbeat script hook, on each creature's script hook you want to move at least. Contains various routines for patrol move, was the first goblins we saw. World time move, that were the innkeeper Carol and Jacob the farmer. And aggressive move modes, that's when the player enters the perception range of a creature, then it starts tracking and hunting the player like the goblin on the second map, and that's called aggressive mode. It can be triggered from patrol mode as well as from world time mode. So patrolling actors or world time moving actors can both switch into aggressive mode, and whether they'll do so or not is decided actually by their perception value. I'll come to that in a moment on the creature properties. If their perception is negative, then they are peaceful, they won't notice you and won't go after you. If you give it a positive value, then they will start hunting you down when you come into a range that's equal or lower to that positive perception value. Now, hunting and aggressive sounds like combat. It will be most of the time, I think, but you could also assign a perception value to actors who don't have an encounter bound to them, but a conversation, and maybe somebody is approaching you aggressively just to talk to you. So aggressively is perhaps a little bit a wrong word. Perhaps actively would have been better here, but let's stick to that. The script also handles all the floaties, so when to call them and all those different features to prevent floaty spam and floaties overlapping each other and repetitions, and the whole code is displayed here. This is also the only script that can take player or author-defined parameters. You can assign up to 4 parameters to it. It's a tag of an encounter to call, if you want to call an encounter. Then the encounter will be called on collision with the creature. Or yeah, well, to be fair, it's not exactly called a collision. I think it's called on the creature entering your square, but those creatures which call encounters should always have collision set to on, so you can't bump into them, and they have the chance to bump into you a second later, or better, to enter the square you're on a second later. If you would turn collision off on such a creature, you could theoretically run through them. You should have those creatures carrying encounters always set collision to true, but I'll explain that just in a minute. Then second parameter here is so you could at P1 you could use the tag of an encounter or just none or nothing. Then the second parameter is double or skip move chance. It can be value between +100 and -100. Whereas +100 will mean you always get a double move, not you, but the creature, and -100 would mean it would totally skip every turn. And in between it's just chances, so if you give it a -50, it will skip every second move, and if you give it a +50, it will do a double move on every second turn. Then our third parameter is the mode it's in. It's either patrol mode or world time mode. 1 is patrol mode, 0 or nothing is world time mode. Saw these modes already in action in the last example. The patrol mode is just running around waypoints in a position chain ranging from 1 to x. And when you reach x, the last waypoint, then it starts at 1 again and does so in an eternal circle. This can only operate on one map, so it won't find, let's say you have 6 waypoints on one map and place a 7th on another map, then it won't find that 7th one. So it's really for very simple solutions. It's very quick to set up, but therefore also limited. Just drop some waypoints with numbers on the same map, and your creature will go off and running, and that's it. Very simple for small stuff, and will often be enough, I think, even. Or the full Monty, that's the world time mode. Yes, just place a 0 here or none here. We're in world time mode, and then the navigation is more complicated, using departure times of the waypoints. So if you reach a waypoint or you start on a waypoint, you will leave it at a certain departure time, and you will head into the direction of the waypoint with the next lowest departure time available. And if you notice on the way to that waypoint that you won't make it in time to that new waypoint, cause before you can reach it, it's the new destination departure time will have already passed two. Then you immediately skip that waypoint and go to the next one with the lowest departure time to which you can make it. So this is a system of auto repair, you could say. So the schedules will always work out in the end, but some points might be skipped. Now, how can it come to the skipping of waypoints? It can be due to collision with other creatures. So you have to wait, or perhaps you trigger more floaties, or very often floaties. Of course, as I already told you, when floaties are played, the creature waits too. Yes, so this can all be reasons for delays there, unexpected ones. Okay, then there's the fourth parameter. It's rounds to spend hunting. It's only relevant when the creature has a positive perception value, meaning it's active or aggressive. And this tells us for how long it will go after the player before it will decide to return to its starting waypoint. Okay. Yeah. Then that's 6 scripts and what they do. And I hope you get a little feeling now of which influence comes from which script. There's obviously much more details to them, but I think it's an overview for orientation. That's good enough. Now these 6 scripts alone won't set up everything for you, not even when you are customizing those 4 parameters. You have also to use the toolset. Now in the toolset, especially actually two zones we have to make entries. It's in the creature properties and in the here and in the properties of props where you will assign the waypoints. Actually, you'll also have to place the waypoints as well as your creature on the map then and in the main window. So let's start with the creature properties. First one, very important rule. Only if you want a creature on different maps at different times, use instances of the same blueprint. Otherwise, keep it unique. Meaning, one blueprint, one creature instance, that's it. Only exception, you want to have a creature that exists on several maps, because it patrols in time, not patrols, it moves in time over several maps. So it's perhaps in the morning in the village and in the afternoon on the field. In that case, you can place instances of the same blueprint, one in the village and one on the fields. Otherwise, please don't do so. It will totally confuse and mess stuff up. I think if you have the same actors instances twice on a map. Yeah. Okay, then very important is name with notes. That's actually the link. Therefore, I've drawn this blue bracket here. Also stressed equal here. That's the link between a creature and the waypoints belonging to it. I've done that in a way that the engine checks whether the name with notes of a creature equals a prop category name. So if you call your goblin 13B, then you would have to call the prop category where all the waypoints are in also goblin 13B. I'll come up with some better naming suggestions later on when we look in the toolset. Perception, I told you already about. It defines whether the creature is actively approaching the player, also called aggressive or not. If you set it to negative, it's peaceful in my terms here, or passive. If you set it to the positive value, it will be aggressive, and at the same time also this defines the aggression range it has. So when you come into its near under the distance defined here, or equal the distance defined as perception range, then it will start approaching you. The has collision property, I also touched briefly. You said only set this to true for encounters, for creatures that have P1 here in the creature move actor on world map script set to the tag of an encounter to call. In all other instances where you don't want a direct call of an encounter by the creature, please set this to false. so that you can pass over the creature. If you would set, for example, all harmless peasants in a village to have collision, you would very soon be stuck with the player in some doorways or various situations, I fear. Um, so that's not necessary, and better you can pass through them and deactivate the collision. They won't need it. They will still respect the squares occupied by other NPCs. Don't worry. So they'll navigate around them. That's handled differently, but the player can move through them. So yeah. Um, okay. Uh, you could also have another exception here is if you want to have a conversation intended. No, I was wrong there. Sorry for that. It's really only to be set to true if you want a direct encounter triggered by that. That stuff with the here, that stuff with the conversation is just saying that you can also trigger encounters by conversations, obviously. But if you do that way, you will also have set collision to false. So short rule: if you do a direct encounter without conversation or anything before, and it has to be true. In all other cases, it is false. Then we have the conversation check and conversation tag. You should then set the P1 of the encounter to call to none or 0, and instead, if you want to, if it's even supposed to call an encounter, then call that encounter from the conversation itself via an action. And you would also have to include then removing the creature after victory. And the way to do it in the system is to add the defeated creature to the defeated creature list I told you above. There you can see this also done in GA synchronized actor positions with world time. Only doing it that way will ensure that it's deleted from all maps where instances of the creature might have appeared. Then we got the props or waypoints themselves, which you will place on the maps, and they'll act as beacons the creature follow in their routines. There is two types there: the patrol props and the world time props. And the world time waypoint props come in 4 different flavors, namely daily, weekly, 4-weekly, and yearly. I've made you templates for all of the stuff, including also I think 8 different creature types in the new module I just talked about at the beginning. So I'll show you later how these templates exactly look. Just some properties that are important on the waypoints. And at first, again, the proper category name. It must be equal to the name with notes of the creature that you want to adhere to these waypoints. Please keep everything unique. So do the individual waypoint chain for each creature you want to move, and use every creature only once per map, and then different maps only if you want them to appear at different times. Okay. The props used for a creature set have this prop category name. The prop names themselves, you can set them whatever you want. But they'll all be in the same prop category, even if they are on different maps. I'll show you how that looks later on. The show property I would advise to set to false for waypoint props. It just defines whether they are shown in-game or not. I don't think you want to see any donuts or whatever you use as waypoint props. So set this to false here, you'll still see that in the toolset. Then lots of information is contained for one in the prop local ins at the far bottom of the properties. There, especially for patrol props, is the position and waypoint chain ranging from 1 to X, and the creature starting at 1. So please place the creature also at number 1, and it goes from there to 2, 3, and so on until it finds the highest number to return to 1 again. Very simple. For world time movers, it's a little bit more difficult at first. So waypoints have different names there, the local ins. or keys in the language of the scripting in C sharp. Um, these keys are like daily waypoint, weekly waypoint, 4-weekly waypoint, yearly waypoint. And depending on the key chosen, they expect a different value to be entered. That is a number that indicates the departure time from them. So let's assume you had daily waypoints, and he would expect a number in a format that's hour, minute. So let's say you had a waypoint where Jacob the farmer is supposed to leave the waypoint at 7:30. You would enter 0730, and that's it. Took me quite some conversion work to do it. Otherwise, you would have to enter something like 25,500 seconds or something like that. So it's much more convenient once you're used to it to enter 7:30. It's very good readable. If you have something like weeks, then it's let's say a skeleton trader you saw approach on the Tuesday would have been supposed to appear at later on in the evening at 21:30. Then it would look like this: 02 for the Tuesday, 21 for the hours, and 30 for the minutes. Yeah, I have all those other formats for the higher, longer scheduled waypoints also written down in the post here in the thread. Then there's finally at the prop local ins, that's important here, begin and end intervals. What's that? Um, let's assume a creature is using different maps, and like Jacob the farmer, he is, for example, well, let's say from 9 to 6 in the day on the fields, and from 6 to 9 obviously then on the village map. So we need to tell the engine here, or the scripting system, during which intervals he is supposed to be on which map, and therefore the engine will check the waypoints contained on a map for a creature with that name and see if the time it finds lies within a begin and end interval. You might say, okay, but why do we need 4 of those? And then you make one interval for Jacob. Okay, it's from let's take the fields. So he's there from 9 to 6, and we know the interval, and be done with it. That's true for Jacob, but you might have examples where somebody enters the map, leaves the map, enters it again, and you suddenly get lots of different intervals there. So I've prepared you 4 slots for that. So you don't have to use them, but you could. Then there's the prop local strings. Here you enter the floaties supposed to be played. They're entered for each waypoint. I've prepared 8 slots for you already in the templates. 4 are called at waypoint, or arrived on waypoint to be more precisely, and the other 4 are called moving to waypoint. So it's quite telling names. The first group, arrived on waypoint, is played when the actor stands actually on the waypoint, while the other group, moving to this waypoint, is played when the actor is approaching this waypoint. Um, this allows you actually to very precisely define when you want to have which group of floaties appear, and this was a trick you have seen in the village when they said good morning in the morning, or I enjoyed the drink in the evening, or a starry night in the night, or whatever, exactly by using here the correct group attached to the correct waypoint, which himself is attached to a time. You can very precisely steer what you want them to say. Yeah, finally just some misc information here, miscellaneous. So one thing you have to take care of is that all maps you have to come in 4 flavors now: dawn, day, dusk, and night. Of course, you don't have to recolor all of them. You could also have them all look the same, but the engine will make trouble if it doesn't find maps with this name. So best you make copies of your maps. And let's say here in Laterna was a map called Home DS JPEG. Instead of Home DS JPEG, we would now have Home DS Dusk JPEG, Home DS dawn, day, and night JPEG, and then also home DS itself, so you don't have to switch anything in the toolset. So you would have 5 variants in there. Same for the clock PNG. Would have additional clock day, clock night, clock dawn, and clock dusk PNG. Yeah, and the last bullet point here is probably more something for only a very short-term future. Right now, I'm using a special iSpling exe and some special iSpling script functions concerning those. Jer was so kind to adjust them a little, especially concerning the path finding, the A star on the overworld map. But I hope this will be integrated into the next release to our whole group. Yeah, so that's the overview. If you could remember all of this, you're ready to use it. But I seriously don't expect you to. But you can look details up here at the sheet again, and I can do myself. And some time has passed, and I want to amend something here. So I hope it's helpful, despite of being rather dry. Then now let's go into the tool set prepared here already. What we'll see in here now is the project living world you saw in the first video, and this is where we started here at the bottom. Here's the starting square, and here's our goblin in the tree labyrinth, you know, the delusional one who thought him to be Aragon. Yeah, the red circles here are actually his waypoints now, so perhaps where he patrols from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. Yeah, go away. So let's first go to creatures, and then peaceful patrol room 1. That's our goblin here. You could name him whatever you like, but you just stress this point. Whatever name you choose here as a name for the goblin, you have to choose here under props. Close these here. For all props belonging to goblin peaceful patrol room 1-1. Goblin peaceful patrol room 1-1. Yeah. They all have to be sorted under this category. So here you have got 1, 2, 3, 4. These are 4 waypoints here, and they are under a category that's exactly of the same name as the creature name with notes we see here. Alright, so the creature himself is peaceful, therefore his perception range is negative. You remember the cheat we have just seen before. Also, he's peaceful means we have not attached any encounter to him later on in the script, so we have set his collision to false. Otherwise, for example, he would block this corridor here for us, and we would get easily a head-to-head situation. We would have to move back to let him move out, and it's very complicated. So I really advise to pay attention to that. So has collision to false and perception range to negative, because we have a passive creature here which is not supposed to trigger an encounter. Yeah. So then, very importantly, the script he carries. In this case, important yeah, it's called here GA move actor on world map. It actually will be in the new module with the templates. I will call it creature move actor on world map. It's just the same. It's just more correct in the naming standards. We already have to call it creature move actor on world map, because it's supposed to go on a creature script hook. Yeah, so when we open this one up, you can see, as usual for scripts, the 4 parameters we can pass here. Also, you've got an explanation here, very similar to the one I have shown you on the sheet. So we can look it up here and see fascinating. Okay. See that he's supposed to call an encounter here. That's fun. Shouldn't be here. So you should have not an encounter here, because this goblin here is a peaceful one. So then he's in patrol mode. That's right. He's no extra steps. That makes sense. It also makes no sense actually that he is here hunting range here, for he's not gonna hunt anyway. So the encounter here, as well as the hunting range, didn't hurt either, because its perception is negative. So we will never get into the aggressive mode we would need for the script to check those parameters here. But it's irritating for the user, so you better switch them off if you don't use it. So, okay, that's it for him, and I think for the map here. Now let's have a look at room 2, or perhaps it's the waypoints. The props here carry his name. Let's have a look at the first one. My naming convention here was the order of the props, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4. The room they're in. Not for peaceful patrol actor, because they're only on one map. For world time actors, it's thinkable that they have props that are in different rooms or maps or areas, and do not get confused which comes from what area. It's probably advisable to list the areas here somewhere. The 5, 5 here is the coordinate, so yes, indeed it's grid 5, 5 here. So it's the area they're in and the coordinates they're on and their place in the chain. Yeah, just for orientation purposes. These names are totally freely. You could call them Umgag 27 if you like. Yeah. So it's very the most interesting part of them. Perhaps have them to show faults. You don't want to have this donut on your map. And collision faults is an obvious one too. So prop local ins and prop local strings. That's where the real music plays for these props. Prop local ins for patrol waypoints is very easy. That's just a position and waypoint chain entry here is key. That's what the scripts look for. And then the value indicating the number in the chain. And it's 1 here, so it's the starting position. Yeah. And that's it to it here in that case. So you'll see if you would look at number 2. No surprise. Value number 2 and so on. Again, in the templates you have prepared for you, all these entries are pre-made here, so you'll find position waypoint chain. You would just have to enter that number here. Prop local strings. These are the floaties that are supposed to be played. You can see here it's 8 of them. First 4 ranging from 0 to 3 are arrived at floaty. So it's 3 is 4, 3 and so on. And these are moving to waypoint floaty. So here all the text you've seen appear. They are played at random with a random probability. You can adjust these probabilities in the scripts, which I'll explain in the third video then. The default setting is, I think, like 33% per step. That 1 of the 4 here is played if there are 4. You can do less. It's okay. Play only 1 and leave the other 3 free. Then every third step, this one is played all the time, but only in every third step. What you shouldn't please do is to make an entry here, then leave a 5 blank and do an entry at 6 again. The routines checking for entries will not handle the situation very good, I fear. Yeah, you could also leave all blank, of course, that's no problem. Yeah, and this cohesive entering of values is true for the group arrived at, ranging from 0 to 3, and for the group moving to from 4 to 7. Yeah. Okay. So that's it for patrol waypoints and for peaceful patrolling goblin room 1 here. Then we go to room 2. There we got this fellow here. It's our aggressive patrol room goblin. Again, he shares the name with the prop belonging to him. So where's the difference with him? At first, he is carrying an attack. So he's carrying an encounter tag, so he's supposed to trigger an encounter on collision, untechnically speaking, so it's true for him, that's good. Then he has a perception range, for we want him to actively approach his target. It's 4 here. Yeah, and then in the script that's called on him, we look a little different now. This time the cave entry here is used because he has a perception range and can enter aggressive mode when we come too close. And if he lands on the same spot as us, then the encounter with the tag cave, so it's this encounter there is then triggered. Um, yes, he's in patrol mode, as his parameters 3 as the one indicates here. Now, something new on the second parameter is a 15. Positive 15 means that he's a 15% chance to get double move each time. This was the way he was able to almost catch us in the first video as I demonstrated. And he's quite an endurant hunter. He follows us for 8 rounds before he will decide to teleport back to his home spawn point. Yeah. Perhaps worth noting that perception range is also important if you at any point of a chase get out of perception range, so somehow manage to get a distance of 5 between you and the goblin, then he'll also give up chasing you, not teleporting back, but just approaching the last waypoint stored from where he stood in the moment where he lost sight of you. Yeah. Okay. I think that's good enough for him. Then let's, yeah, perhaps I'll just to make it complete, set an encounters call, the cave encounter here. Let's have a look, let's edit this and look at encounter properties, and you will see, aha, the end combat round script here is called, and that's important because it will contain code for entering him into the defeated creature list once you've won the encounter. That's important. So don't forget to add the script here on the script hooks for your encounters that are triggered by moving creatures. Okay. Then we'll go to the next room, room 3, and we'll have contact now with our world time moving actors. Perhaps I should have added the props for the aggressive goblin will look exactly the same as the one for the non-aggressive one. So you've got position and waypoint chain, and you've got floaties he's supposed to play, but this here will not play any floaties he could have such. So, and in the templates you will have such. Perhaps worth noting though that once he detects you and goes after you in aggressive/active mode, he will not play any floaties anymore, because if he would do so, that would slow him down, for he would have to halt for every floaty, and we won't do that while he actively hunts you. Yeah. So, room 3. You can see here already our skeleton trader. he's shown here. He's even, I think, let me have a look. Likely trader peaceful, that's him. He's likely even set to show true here, yeah, so you would expect him to see him right the instant you enter the map, which is totally not true, and that's because of our synchronized script I've just shown you on the sheet there, that will check once you enter a map whether a creature is within the time interval on this map that's indicated by the props placed on this map, and if it's not, it will be set to hidden, the show property, and that's exactly what happens to our trader here if you enter this map before Tuesday or Tudor. Yeah. So then you also can see Jacob here and Carla or Carol, Carol. Yeah. Perhaps I'll start with let's do the trader. So he's a little complicated, but why not? So he's a trader. He's peaceful and following a weekly routine. Special, but it's also time-based movement. So why not? So his perception range is -1. He's not supposed to approach the player in any way. He has collision set to false, because he carries no encounter with him, and we don't want him to block our movements in the village or at choke points. I'm telling you this stuff several times, as you may notice, but I hope that some repetition gets some routine into this for me too, actually. Then we can see, okay, we've got is on move actor script, of course, activated. Yeah, very boring. Nothing passed here, and it's not necessary. No encounter needed. Obviously, as he's not approaching, no maximum number to hunts. It's no double move, no very fast trader. And this none or zero here shows we are not in patrol mode, but in normal world time mode. Okay. So the interesting stuff about him, though, is then his props. More generally, those world time props are a little more complicated, but also more powerful, obviously. So let's have a look at him. Alright, those props. I was a little lazy here with the coordinates. They are not all at 11.3, but it's just the naming. That's no problem here. So if we look at this one here, it's I named it 2-9-30, telling me that it's on Tuesday 9:30 in the morning. So that will be this prop here where he enters. Then the one below is the 11:30. That's the one in the middle. And at 18:30 he'll leave here, and that's all on Tuesday. It's just a name. This is not the information read by the engine. That's stored further below, but it's good for orientation purposes to see it here. Again, these names are free, the names of the props, but the category name, see above it, has to be the same name as the one of the trader here, or otherwise the engine will not know which waypoint props belong to which creature. So then let's have a look at the local ints and strings stored on it. First, the ints. Remember, with patrol waypoints, there was just the position and waypoint chain, the number, and that's it. See, here's a little bit more information. Let's start at the beginning. The most important information is the type of waypoint which before us. This is a weekly waypoint here. There's also daily, 4-weekly, and yearly, in addition to weekly. I've made the templates for this in the example module. Yeah. So the type or key of waypoint entered here tells the engine also which value you expect in a line below. So you see here 20930, which was originally, as I entered it, as a 020930, but the engine cuts off the first zero is no problem. Just think it for a thing. It's better to recognize what you see then there. So you don't see 20,930 there, but actually second day of the week, Tuesday, at 9 hours and 9 and 30 minutes 30. So it's 9:30 in the morning on Tuesday, where this is the departure time of this waypoint. So once he'll appear there at 9:30, he'll already leave. So, but how do we know now that he appears there at 9:30 for literally it's the departure time here? So when was his arrival time? That's a good question. And this is there are no arrival times on any points, but there are times when he's on the map, and that's his arrival time here. And when he is supposed to be on the map is defined by those intervals I told you about. The begin time interval and end time interval. As I've only done him for that map and not supposed him to return at another time again on this map here. There's only one interval where he is here, and this will be starting Tuesday 9:30 in the morning, so that's our arrival time here, and ending on Tuesday at 18:30 in the evening. That's when he leaves here. So whenever our daily time interval is before 9:30 or after 18:30, the show property of the skeleton here will be turned to false, and you won't see him. And also various routines in the script will block him from triggering, doing anything that you would notice at least. He'll be not existence for every single player has to know. The 30 is actually not needed anymore. It's from an older model I used, Area Transit. We don't need it here anymore. I've deleted it already in the slightly more modern example starting module. Then you've got the prop local strings. These are the floaties again that are supposed to be played, and that's extremely similar as to what we've seen before. It's the same actually, so it's arrived at waypoint from 0 to 3 and moving to waypoint from 4 to 7 Again, you can enter whatever you want as value here. Please don't skip anything. So if you suppose plan to do 2 entries in the group from 0 to 3, then do them on 0 and on 1. Not, for example, on 0 and on 2, skipping 1. That's not good. Okay. So that's our trader here, and with him explained, we've also explained the other ones actually. Just a short look at the creature first of Peaceful Farmer. He's set up in the very same way, at least he should. So he has no collision, no. He has perception range that's negative, and his world time script is blank 2. And his waypoints will look very much the same, just he's quite a lot of more. That's because his routines are more complicated here on the map. You see me now using here red donuts for everyone. I would advise you to be cleverer than me, and for more complicated maps actually use different icons for your different actor waypoints. Perhaps even me or somebody else or whatever you yourself do yourself some numbered props like in different colors, like numbers from 1 to 10 in blue and in yellow, green, and then so you could easier one look on the map see where which actor moves. That's unless they share the same square, then it's a little bit difficult, but otherwise it should be good recognizable. Naming convention is helpful here too, though. You can see that the first of his waypoints are all in room 3. That's where we are now. While there's a second group in room 4. So you can already recognize, okay, aha, he has some waypoints on this map here too, which we've seen him move to in the first video I made. You also see while I'm at it that you see him here in the far corner. So he's placed here in the toolset. And he's also placed here, so he exists double time. And that's because his existence is in different times of the day. So again, please use from every blueprint. That's what we're talking here. So Farmer Peaceful Daily is the blueprint. Make only one instance of this. Instance means only place it once by left click on any map in the game. Only exception is if you have got a waypoint traveling, world time traveling creature on different maps. Then you can place, as I've done here with the farmer, him on each map he's supposed to be. Yeah, and the waypoints existing here will blend him out based on the time intervals I've described for the time periods where he's supposed to be invisible, so to say. Okay. So just have a look at it. Just a random one of these. The 24-hour one. That's a special one actually. You should, if you can very nicely see here. There's a 0-hour one and a 24-hour one. Actually, the 24-hour one is 1 second out of the existence of what a day has for a day has from 0 to oh dear, 84,599 seconds. And 2400 would actually be 1 second more. It would be 68,400. In contrast to 60 hours, it's 68,399. Still, please use it 2400 if you want to indicate that somebody is there till the end of the schedule. The reason for this is the way the schedules are read here are in minutes. So the highest number you could enter is minutes and hours. It's shown you it's 23:59, meaning 23 o'clock. 59 minutes. That leaves you 59 seconds, which you cannot enter. And this would mean that the interval detection at, let's say, 23 o'clock, 59 minutes and 30 seconds would register him out of the interval you have defined and would make him invisible. So for the ghost hour, close before midnight, he would go into invisible ghost mode and then magically reappear at 1 second after 0 o'clock or at 0 o'clock. We don't want this, so just use the 24 here and you'll be fine. So whenever you want somebody to stay the whole, at least to the end of the day, use the 24 at the end. No problem there. It's also no problem to have various waypoints on the same square actually. In the map here, the the 0 hour waypoint and the 24-hour waypoints are on the very same square where it sleeps here. So that's no problem. Okay, so perhaps a look at the props here. So the local ints. Can see here the departure time. He's supposed to leave here at 24 hours. Now, where's he going to go at 24 hours, you ask? And he's going to go to the next waypoint. The next waypoint in the running interval. And as the interval ends there, this is 0 hour. So where is he going to suppose at 0 hours to leave again? Well, I don't know why exactly I've constructed this, although I know why I did it this way. From 0 hours, he's going then to the next waypoint at 5 hours, where it's actually going to race. And this again is the waypoint that's also replaced here. So as you can see, we've got even a triple waypoint here. Yeah, okay. So he's not really moving there. And I think I've done the 0 hours and the 24 hours waypoints just to have the whole interval covered with waypoints. Maybe I could even not be forced to do this. I would have to experiment. Truth be told, it cannot hurt to do it this way. Yeah. Okay. So, and now I look at the props. So daily waypoint. Oh, let's stay with the 24-hour one. 24-hour and intervals. And now you can see the farmer here has two intervals. And true, that's correct, because he's one where he's supposed to be before he leaves to the field, and he's one interval where he's supposed to be here after he returns from the field. Therefore there's two, and they range from 0 to 9 o'clock, and then again from 18 o'clock to 2400 o'clock. Yeah. So now this interval here, these both two I told you will be the same for every waypoint on this map 3 for this farmer here. So it's very advisable to save you lots of typing to lay these out once for one waypoint first, and then you have to define yourself which time periods of a day he's supposed to be here, enter that here, and then copy it 6 or 8 times, and then you just have to enter the departure time here. It's much easier than doing it the other way around. Just a practical building tip. So, we've got the departure time, we've got the intervals in which he's supposed to be here, or which not, vice versa. And then we have got the local strings again for the floaties, and these are the same as we already know from our skeleton or from our patrol actors. Nothing new here. Yeah, and our innkeeper just behaves the same way. Yay, and was a long explanation, but I think we've covered everything of importance that's to know here. So now I'm going to show you the last step in this extra long demonstration. Yes, new module, Project Living World based. So this is the one I've done for you as a fresh starting point, or at least to see everything very clean and copy parts you would like into your already existing works. Perhaps let's have a look at the data structure of this one here. I've added the iceblink exe and the script functions. DLL, I think that will be not necessary for JR. Will in this next update likely have something in the IB default code that will not make this here necessary. Just guessing, but I suppose it will be this way, especially if he likes to use it in Lanterna here. Would make sense. So one thing to pay attention to is the graphics of the clock. They are placed directly on the graphics found here. So if you copy stuff over from here to your existing module, grab these 4 clocks here and place them on the graphics in your module. Then have a special look at areas. You can see here the home DS area. I've done that's actually the level data, not the graphical one, but here's the graphical one. And I've done 4 copies of this one and named them as described at the very beginning of this video: dawn, day, dusk, and night. You will want to do this too with all areas you've got, whether you want to change the lighting or not. But otherwise, the engine will likely complain that it doesn't find a special file. So I think that's it. Scripts, of course. These are the 6 scripts you've seen on the first sheet. You will want to copy them from this folder here, from the scripts folder of the new module, into your own scripts folder if you want to transfer stuff. And then you're set to run. As I told beforehand, the world time UI, the world time, and the on module load are all working by themselves. You don't need script hooks for them, while you will have to hook the creature move actor on the creature script hook, heartbeat, the GI and combat round on end combat round of each encounter, and this one here on the module on heartbeat script hook found under module properties. Yeah, then you're set to go, and now let's enter what I've set up for you. Aspling Toolset. Right there. Open. New module. New module. So what I've done here, you will find already under properties the synchronize script. So don't have to take care of that anymore. Then you will see. Let's open just this area here. Looks nicer. Then you'll see under creatures, I've made you examples of moving actor types. And you have got here petrol peaceful, petrol aggressive, world time peaceful, world time aggressive, and then these 4 again with conversations carried by them. What I've prepared here for you is the setup of perception range you're gonna need here. So for all who are not aggressive, I've set it to minus already for you. I've also handled all the rules on collision, so you only find collision on the aggressive types that carry no conversation. So only petrol aggressive will have a collision. Yep. And world time aggression with a collision. Yeah, that's true too. For all conversation carrying ones, I've also already checked conversation to true. Also, answer is just a placeholder conversation. Here I've created carries actually nothing. Just remember you just need it here. Yeah, and also I have set up already for all of them here the creature move on actor world map script with also parameters entered that make sense for a first start. So if you've got here a patrolling creature, it's 1 already, and that's the one that's where we okay, this one here. Yeah, right. Patrol peaceful. It's 1 here, has no encounter, will obviously not hunt you for any maximum number of rounds, and is not moving faster or slower than anybody else. While if I look, for example, at a world time aggressive one, it would look different. There would be an encounter that is called, and it was a world time aggressive I've chosen here, so it's 0, no patrol. It's 15% chance to do double move, and will hunt you down for 7 rounds before it gives up hunting you. Yeah. Okay. So that's preparation of actor types. So what you want to do ideally, I think, is pick one of those, say petrol creature, duplicate it, then give it a unique name. Let's play around with that. Yeah, 27. So, and then give it a name with notes, and then you could do something with Umgag 27. Petrol peaceful room, or in this case home DS, yeah, or whatever naming system you come up with. It's what fits you best for sorting. So could make, by the way, could make a copy of it here. So just made a very long name. Just mark it and right-click it and click on copy. So, and then we would go to props and waypoint templates here. Now we have the petrol mover, so it's no world time, easy enough. So I would do a copy, a duplicate of that one too. And now important, it's not the name that's very important here of the prop, but the more important stuff, it's a category name. So I would go into category name and delete what's existent here and paste our umgag name. Whoop. And there we've got now the category relevant for petrol points for our umgag friend here. And now I could duplicate this many times as we want to have petrol points. Oh, okay, that's nice. What happened now? Blueprints duplicate. Oh, perhaps I clicked too fast. Not certain. This was not supposed to happen. Oh. Yeah, likely I was too fast, but it works still. Okay, and yeah, then we could enter individual data for all the petrol points here, and then pick up one. You know I've already attached an icon sprite, a donut here now. Besides, if they appear too low for you, you can hover your mouse over here and shrink those. I once failed to see this. I was very no, not angry, but very unfortunate. Interesting. There. Okay, so yeah, and then could place various of them here. Okay. Yeah, and I hope with these templates already pre-made. So I've also these are more complicated here. Those world times actually. Let's have a look at them. Was a little bit more work in the preparation. So I've done you here the type, the daily waypoint, because this was a move a daily template, and I've also done you here 4 potential intervals. If you do use only one, just leave the others at 0, no problem. And I've also done you all the strings already. So you've got 4 strings for arrived at and 4 strings at moving to prepared already, and you can directly enter the floaties you want to appear at the different sections you would like. Yeah, should be helpful, at least I hope. And I think now I've really stolen a lot of your time. You're probably sleeping by now. But if you once should really decide to try and set up something like this, then perhaps it might be a little bit helpful to you to listen or then re-listen to this stuff here. Okay, many thanks for watching, and yeah, see you soon.